Well, time for me to dive into discussion. I'm joined by Amrit Mathur, the advisor to Dream 11 at this hour. Also joining me on the show is Seth Bennett, who is a sports reporter with the BBC. Indian fans, Vinesh Prabhu and Ahan Gupta. Good evening, gentlemen. To you first, Amrit, would you say Indians are ahead at the end of day one?
Well, most certainly. On a difficult pitch, 300 already on the board, 4 wickets in hand. And England has to bat last against 3 quality spinners. So I think India definitely on top. And just see the difference the toss can make. In the previous game, England batted first, put a 500 odd, and India was under pressure. So I think it's changed for this game, but certainly on a very spiteful wicket, turning from the session itself. India is certainly in a dominant position after day one.
Seth, the way Rohit Sharma batted on this wicket, he scored 161 runs. Would you say that he showed that there are no demons on the pitch?
Oh no, undoubtedly there are demons in the pitch, but he batted really, really well. He rode his luck at times. I think that he found different ways to make sure that when he played his sweep, he played it hard and he got good value for those runs. So I think he gave the blueprint. Once you're in, I think you've got to go relatively hard at the bowling attack and make the most of every opportunity that you have. Any bad balls have got to go to the boundary.
Vinesh, interesting to see Rohit Sharma playing those sweep shots against the English, giving them a taste of their medicine.
Well, of course, it looked like Rohit Sharma was playing on a different pitch because while others were struggling, he was just going on with his shots, and we could see that with his batting. Also, it was a good day to come back in form because we needed Hitman to score a big one, and today he's delivered, and that too on a very difficult track. So I'm very happy with his performance, and hopefully we can pile on a lot of runs by tomorrow and be on the driving seat.
Ahan, Rohit Sharma scored 161, more than half of what India scored on the first day. How would you rate the performance of the rest of the batsmen? There were others who batted on day one as well.
Yeah, I think this was the kind of wicket that once you got, it was tough to get in, but once you got in, you had to make the start count, which is exactly what Rohit did. And Rahane also did to some extent. Other batsmen, like I think Gill made indecision, and then again, same with Kohli. It was I don't know if it was the right shot to hit at that moment, but he didn't execute it properly. But then right at the end again, Punch showed that if you bat with intent and you bat properly on this pitch, you can get reward for your shots. And hopefully that's what they do tomorrow and get us closer up to 400, 450 if possible.
We are going to, of course, talk about the spinners. Let me ask Amrit about that wicket of Virat Kohli. He was dumbfounded in the way he got out, and then he kept waiting. It almost seemed like that he was about to review that wicket. I mean, was it at the spur of the moment of Virat Kohli really didn't believe that he could get out in that way? What did you think of it?
Well, he was amazed and he was baffled because the ball turned a mile and it went through the gate. And maybe he didn't expect the ball to come in so much, but maybe that was not the best shot to be played on a wicket like that, with the off-split turning in to him. So I think it was a terrific ball, but also a mistake by the batsman. And I think he was just surprised by the ball and maybe by the mistake he committed. But this is quite a basic error. You don't drive through cover to an off-spinner and the ball is turning in. So they play in his innings, a mistake, but really quite a ball to get so early in an innings in a test match.
Seth, yesterday at the press conference, Joe Root said one of the key for the England team will be to keep Virat Kohli quiet. Now, he's been kept quiet, but Rohit Sharma has been firing, and India also has a very long tail. Would you say that the Englishmen were not adequately planned for someone like a Rohit Sharma who's not been firing for the last few occasions?
No, I think they made their plans for him, and I think they'll be fairly happy for the majority of how they bowled to him, and certainly how they bowled to the rest of the India team. To get Kohli as they did, particularly with India batting first, was absolutely huge. And what we've found again in this is once you get in, then you can make your runs. It's really hard to start an innings, and that's why it's going to be so important that first hour of the morning session that England do take wickets and try and restrict India to somewhere in the 330 region, 330, 335. That's a big score on this wicket. to me, it looked like a day 4 wicket at the end of day 1. The ball's doing absolutely oodles. Joe Root looked almost unplayable when he was bowling at times, and they're going to have their hands full. To get over 250 on this wicket in the second innings, goodness knows in the third and in the fourth innings, well, if you're getting much over 125, then I think you've done very, very well.
It might be very difficult for the English team to bat fourth on this wicket also. Amrit, to you, well, they debuted Akshar Patel in this match. There are 3 spinners in the side. Given the way we saw the wicket turn and the Englishmen picked up 5, English spinners picked up 5 wickets, would you say that when the Indians come into bowl, much more is expected from the track and much more is expected from the Indian spinners?
Well, certainly. Firstly, India, I think, has better quality in terms of the spinners they have. Secondly, they'll be bowling on a wicket which will be worse than what it was today. And Akshar Patel making a debut, I think it's a tailor-made wicket for him. He's accurate, he's quickish. He just has to land the ball in the right place. And the wicket will do the rest. I think England will be disappointed by the spinners today, because the fact that Joe Root has to bowl 8 overs on day 1 match shows that main bowlers, Morley and Leach, haven't lived up to the expectations of the team, because it was a helpful wicket and the 2 spinners went for, I think, 200 runs between them, Leach and Moeen Ali. So I think they'd be disappointed. The wicket was assisting the spinners, and India shouldn't have been 300 for 6 at the end of day 1.
Well, Seth, do you think that England would rue their chances in this match if they are to lose this game? Because yesterday at the press conference against Joe Root said that they have like-for-like replacements, and that is why they're replacing someone like an Anderson and Dom Bess. Do you think, changing a winning combination is not that clever a thing to do?
It's something they were always going to do, so it becomes a bit of a moot point. And I think with Moeen Ali, you get a really good batsman coming in to the lineup as well, which certainly offers a little bit more to that England team than Dom Bess. I thought Moeen Ali bowled okay at times today. I thought Leach bowled really, really nicely. And picking up on the point as to whether Joe Root bowling 8 overs is too much, he's the 3rd spinner in this team. And I would expect that the Indian 3rd spinner would expect to bowl at least 8 overs in a day within the first innings of this test match. So I wouldn't look at it too negatively from that standpoint. I think that you've got to praise Rohit Sharma for the way that he batted today. If I was going to grumble about anything, Rika, do you know what I'm going to grumble about? I'm going to grumble about the umpiring. I thought 2 massive mistakes by the 3rd umpire. DRS should be infallible to the mistakes that were made. Really poor show in that respect. That said, still very much India's day.
Well, let me ask Amrit about this first, and then I'll get to Indian fans. What did they think about umpiring on day 1? Amrit, what did you think? Yeah.
Well, I think those are bad errors. Shouldn't happen, especially with the technology available and what was visible on the screen. So I think inexcusable, and I think tough luck for England to get the wrong end of the stick on those decisions. But I think the feature of today was not just the umpiring. I think the notable thing, the main thing was Rohit Sharma 161. This was a innings from a top player, classy, on a difficult wicket, coming into this match without many runs. But today it was all elegance, timing, touch, superb innings. So I think 300 for 6 India on day 1, largely due to Rohit Sharma. And that's put India into a dominant.
Sure enough. Ahan, errors like this, do you think that makes a superpower like India, a superpower in world cricket, make them look bad?
I don't think you can pinpoint it at India as such. I think they were just there were umpiring errors, and it wasn't nice to see as a viewer. Even as an Indian fan, you want the right decisions to be made and the game to be played in the right way. But I think those kind of errors can happen. I was just a bit surprised. The Rohit Sharma one is a 50-50, the stumping, because that could have gone either way. But I think the Rahane review which got taken, I was really surprised even in the moment that they didn't check the whole thing, especially given that Joe Root went up to the umpire and asked him to check the further part, and they still didn't go back and check that part. So I thought that was a bit shocking. But I mean, these things happen in cricket. They've happened. Umpiring errors have happened for a while. So I understand that was really bad and it should be fixed, but I don't think we can get too stuck up on it.
Vinesh, let me get a quick reaction from you on the umpiring error subject.
Well, mistakes happen. It happens with everyone. But like Ahan said, that the Rahane one should have been checked fully, the replay. And like Joe Root, he went up to the umpire and he told him to review it, but still they didn't go with it. So I think it's a blunder, but mistakes happen. So, and England wouldn't mind it because Rohit Sharma and Rahane got out after a couple of balls after the whole thing happened. So maybe they got off the hook today. But yeah, it shouldn't have happened.
Amrit, last time England won the toss, and on the first day they also put up a mammoth score. Is it all now coming down to winning the toss? If you win toss, you bat, and then you put up a huge score, and pretty much then the test match becomes predictable?
Well, to an extent, yes, because in conditions such as available in India, the toss makes a big difference. The wicket deteriorates, and anybody batting first, making the best use of the pitch on day one, has an advantage. And we saw that in the last game, and I think we are seeing it again in this game. So, to an extent, yes, but it's not always that you win the toss and you win the game, but it gives you a massive, massive advantage.
What is the way to take the toss out of the equation?
Well, I think prepare wickets which are more even in terms of the bat and ball contest, and not make it a lottery which largely is sorted out by who wins the toss.
Perhaps the kind of wicket that you see in Chennai was made because Virat Kohli, after the last test match, massively criticized the pitch that was laid out for the first test. Now, I'll come back to Vinesh about a moment that happened in the game towards the end. Rishabh Pant, while he was batting, he stopped because he wanted the rest of them to stop the chatter. Would you say Pant at that moment realized what it feels like when he does what he does behind the stumps?
Well, I think it was something which Pant often does. But then as a batsman, he's completely right to, stop the game, because as a batsman, you need to concentrate on your game. And it was, I think, the second last over of the day. So you wouldn't want to get out because someone's doing some chatter around. So I think Pant was right in his element to, stop the game. But that led to an extra over.
Right.
But he was completely right. Chatters like these might be at the end of the day a bit harsh.
But Seth, would you say that, chatters like these don't get out of hand, situations like these don't get out of hand in international cricket anymore these days because of IPL dressing rooms and the friends they find in IPL dressing room? And, one of the things that really struck me today was Virat Kohli was bowled by his Royal Challengers mate Moeen Ali.
Yes, I think to an extent, but in the heat of the battle, these guys want to win, and these guys want to get that edge out there on the field of play. And I've got to be honest, a bit of spice in a series like this, I like it. I like the fact that there's a bit of friction between the two camps. And that the Pant's going to come out, and when he's wicket keeping, he's going to be standing up to the stump slot. He's going to have an awful lot to say for himself, maybe even more than usual if that's possible. And I like that. I like that little bit of friction between the two teams. And I think particularly in this match where it's going to be a lot down to spin, it's going to be a lot of men around the bat, how England deal with that. India can use this to their advantage and get into a bit more of a verbal spat and see whether they can really drag England away from their game plan.
Well, fans love banter. It is a spicy pitch, and an added spice like this would, add to the test match, add to the entertainment that crowds are having already in the middle in Chennai. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining me on the broadcast.